Keller Williams has settled for $70 million. Now, what have they settled? Well, they have settled the famous Sitzer Burnett lawsuit that they, along with NAR and Home Services of America, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of America, that lawsuit that they lost and were waiting on appeal. Well, they went ahead and cashed a big check, or promised a big check of $70 million to settle it once and for all, so as to protect them from future liability. So that leaves two folks left. So if you're keeping track at home when it comes to this Sitzer Burnett lawsuit, this the original lawsuit that was that's really looming over all of the real estate agents across the country, basically the way that real estate agents get compensated. If you're keeping track at home, there was 5 entries into the lawsuit, or 5 individuals that were named. 2 of them settled. One was Anywhere, which was formerly known as Rheology, and Remax. They settled before it got to trial. Now, it was Keller Williams, it was NAR, and it was Berkshire that went into the ring to battle it out in trial. They lost. So they went to appeal, which is all natural here. But here, during this appeal, this is the settlement, I believe. The settlement just happened, but the actual loss in court was 3 to 4 months ago. So right now, the bombshell right now is that Keller Williams has agreed to pay $70 million, even though it said it was gonna fight, very, very bravely on the appeal and, get this overturned, or attempt to get it overturned. But it didn't. It tried its best, of course. Now, I don't blame Keller Williams for his decision, but let's read some of the things that have come out today. Our article today is from Yahoo Finance. All right, Keller Williams has agreed to pay $70 million to settle one of the landmark antitrust lawsuits over broker commissions. The brokerage, which announced the agreement on Thursday, was one of the remaining 3 defendants in the Missouri-based lawsuit known as Sitzer Burnett. There's another lawsuit that is not getting as much publicity as this, but the Morrell lawsuit, that one is up where NAR is at, which is in Illinois. But this is the main one that a lot of folks have been monitoring. This was a landmark one. This was the one that kind of brought on all of the what are being called copycat lawsuits, which right now there's 19. So as of the time of this recording, NAR is named in all 19 of them. So there's 19 lawsuits from various states. We've covered many of them on the channel. We've covered them from Nevada. We've covered them from California. We've covered them from Pennsylvania. We've covered a lot of different lawsuits that have come on board after this major ruling. And Keller Williams wasn't named in all 19, but as the largest brokerage in the world by agent count, you could imagine that they're going to be implicated in most of them. So this was essentially a hedge, and that's what Mr. Gary Keller alludes to here shortly. So in an email sent to Keller Williams agents on Thursday, Executive Chairman Gary Keller said the settlement, if approved, would release the firm from liability and copycat lawsuits. We have full confidence in the strength of our appeal, Keller wrote, but we also knew the appellate process could be long and unpredictable, and that our franchisees and agents would have no protection and could completely complete uncertainty while that process played out over time. The move comes after 3 months. Well, we already mentioned this. Awarding the plaintiffs $1.8 billion. So in that original lawsuit that they lost, along with NAR and Berkshire Hathaway, the verdict was $1.8 billion in damage, or up to, if you will. And not up to, it could be treble the damages. So the verdict was awaiting final approval by the judge, which could rule to treble the damages. So it could bring that total to a whopping $5 billion, which would bankrupt everybody. There's no way anybody could get away from that. So it also shows here the 2 brokerages that settled before we actually got to the trial. So Anywhere, which again formerly known as Rheology, settled for $83 million, which is still a huge amount, and Remax another huge amount. So now this is, I'm not going to do public math right now, but that's over $200 million in settlements, if my math serves me correctly. From these 3 brokerages, you still have NAR and you still have Berkshire Hathaway. So you have 2 big pockets that if they continue going and don't reach a settlement, you're looking at something pretty huge. And all the other brokerages that are coming online that are getting sued. Of course, you have EXP as well as getting sued. Any major brokers that you could think of is getting sued right now for the commission. Now, I have here on my notes, I'll read my notes as we go through what the settlement actually said, because when you're settling, you have to concede, of course, there's a payment involved, but also what are you planning to do, what's going to happen. So I have here directly from the proposed settlement. Keller Williams agrees to make clear and periodically remind franchisees and agents affiliated with those franchisees that it does not require them to make offers of compensation to or accept offers of compensation from cooperating brokers. So essentially, it's not guaranteeing the buyer commissions, what it's saying. All right. Franchisees and affiliate agents must be transparent to prospective home sellers and buyers that broker commissions are not set by law and are negotiable. That's something we've been saying forever, and that's something that unfortunately a lot of agents that would comment on your Facebook group saying, I know my value, I know my worth, and it just so happened to be 3% every time. So unfortunately, a lot of those agents are out there. I'm not going to put all the blame on them, because there's a ton of other agents that said, I'm the buyer's agent, you don't pay me, it's the seller that pays me. I work for you for free. So anyway, we've made an entire video on how we got here, so I'm not gonna rehash that, but just going here into what was the proposed settlement, or what Keller Williams agreed to do. All right, to make clear, so Keller Williams agrees to make clear that franchisees and affiliate agents acting as buyer side brokers or agents must be transparent with their clients in accurately disclosing their compensation structure and commuting. So essentially saying how much you're going to be making in the event that you end up going through with the purchase. Display offers of compensation made by listing brokers or agents, which such data is available and or provided to Keller Williams for all active listings, and recommend and encourage the franchisees and agents include cooperative compensation offers. Okay, so just make it shown. Not provide software that permits franchisees. Okay, this is one that was big. And unfortunately, I know too many agents that would do this, or find a work around this, because the MLSs don't do this. So this is a big one. Not provide software that permits franchisees and affiliate agents to filter out or restrict MLS listings that are searchable by and displayed to consumers based on the level of compensation. So essentially what it's saying is there better not be a feature, there better not be a search feature on just hard-coded, and also there better not be a way for you to actually search by terms, which is how some of the agents were getting around it in the MLSs. If essentially don't have a filter that allows to see all of the listings that have a 3% and up, or filter out anything that has less than 3%. So that's what it's saying here. We're not catch you doing that. So if you have a software that allows for that filtering out based off of the commission, you agree that that's not going to be you better not violate that. Expressly advise and periodically remind franchisees and affiliate agents of their obligation to show and market properties regardless of the existence and amount of. So essentially, if you see a listing and it's offering a 0% commission or a 1% commission or 2%, whatever commission happens to be, there better be something in place, training and signing off on the disclosure that, hey, I have showed homes in a ethical way, that I didn't take the commission in consideration, all that fun stuff. Not express or imply a minimum commission required on franchise agreements, training materials. So again, it goes back to the agents. You see them all the time in Facebook groups. I know my value, I know my worth, and then it just happened to be 3% every time, right? So the ones that would comment, oh, I wouldn't lower my fees and all that stuff. So it would be a really good montage to kind of bring up just for fun, but no sense in doing that. Develop educational materials that reflect narcissism. Okay, so same thing. Yeah, that's the news right now. We weren't expecting this one today, so we had to hop on here and see what it was about. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this settlement. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What would you have done? So put yourself in the situation of a Gary Keller, the founder of Keller Williams, who's the chairman right now. If you were faced with this decision, what would you do? Right? So it's easy to, cast stones one way or the other, but if it's a good practice to see kind of, hey, if I was faced with the decision, what would my decision making process look like? Rather than either be super in support or super against whatever the decision was, pretend you were the one making the decision. Really understand or really try to analyze this particular situation that Mr. Keller finds himself in, and really you start appreciating a little bit more of everything, the enormity of this situation. So anyway, let me know your comments down below, and we'll see you on the next one. I was not expecting to make this video today.